Recording in progress.
Hey, Aaron, are you ready? I'm gonna have Donna comes up and start the intro, okay?
All right, welcome everyone. Hi, thank you so much for joining us today for a very interesting webinar on Batsu. My name is Donna Chow and I'm your host and your moderator for today's class with eLotus, your leading provider of continuing education for acupuncturists. All right, so I'm curious, how many of you guys have had your Batsu read before? And how accurate do you believe it is? Let me know in the chat room. For me, I've had my Batsu read before, and I'm not too sure. It was very interesting to get the reading, but is it true? I'm not sure. And also, it depends on the person giving you the reading, how skilled they are. So I'm still iffy about it, but I am always open to learning more. All right, guys. Thanks for sharing your response. And so this entire year, we've been having similar classes to today's in which we learn about the patient's personality and constitution through palm reading, which is palmistry, through numerology, and so on. And then use this information to foresee or predict what types of disorders the patients are more vulnerable to. So if you guys want to learn more about it, then you can check out our website at elotus.org, and we have all the courses already recorded and they're ready for CEUs for you. Today's webinar is part 1 of 2 parts on the TCM secret of using Batsu to determine personality type and susceptible illnesses. Today is part 1 and it is presented by Aaron Zizov. This webinar will be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time, and we will have one break. If you have not done so already, please feel free to get your copy of the lecture notes from the blue course access page in your account. If you would like to join the chat, please set your chat preference to everyone, and you can do that right now. That way everyone can see what you're typing, and you'll have to do this manually because the default setting of Zoom only allows the speaker and the staff to see what you're writing. And if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your Zoom control panel. Our speaker, Aaron, will answer the questions as time allows. And the quiz and video replay, both of these will be available tomorrow, and you will receive an email notification when they are ready. So our speaker today is Aaron Zizov, who completed his graduate studies in acupuncture, herbal medicine, and shiatsu in 2004 from Medicine College located in Tel Aviv, Israel. Aaron specializes in gynecology and Chinese cosmetology and has taught at leading colleges in Israel. He currently teaches professional workshops and courses in Israel and Europe in Chinese cosmetology, tongue diagnosis, and Chinese astrology. He has also taught all these topics with us, and you can find these courses at thelotus.org. I'll share the link with you once I get back to my computer. We are honored to have Aaron joining us today, all the way from Tel Aviv. So let's go ahead and give him a big warm welcome. Aaron, will you please take over now and share your PowerPoint?
Hey, Aaron, it looks like your mic is mute.
Can you hear me? No.
Yeah, now.
Okay,
I
great.
can hear you. Thank you.
So, hi everybody. Good morning or good evening, wherever you are on this globe. I don't know, anywhere here or here somewhere. Thank you, Donna and Ilotus, once again for inviting me. It's a privilege for me and big honor for me to share this knowledge with you. This topic is very close to me. I'm very, very happy to share as much as I know about it from the last 19 years, which I use it in my practice on the last 19 years. For your concern, Donna, at the beginning, I can tell you that it works. It's amazing. We can see many, many things through this map, through this, I will say, energetic DNA. It doesn't mean, and I will talk about it, of course, it doesn't mean that what is the chart, it's not like definition for what we're going to have, but it's about the potential energy that we have and how we can use it. This is the main thing. So I'm going to start with the apology. I'm after like 2 days of flu, so my voice is still kind of deep and low. So maybe later we'll sing Leonard Cohen together with this heavy voice. So anyway, this part of, I mean, today it's the first part, next week will be the second part of the seminar. We're gonna continue from where we will stop today, basically. And about today, we're gonna have a break of like 20 minutes at, if we go with Pacific time, so it will be like in 2 hours, okay? So it's 10:50 for like 20 minutes, exactly in the middle. Anyway, if you have any kind of questions, please write me in the chat. And now that's about it. So sometimes I'll get into the chat like before I will move to other topic or before slides, and I will check. I want to answer all the questions. Okay, so right, maybe before the break it will be the best time to ask all the questions, and during the break I can work through this. So let's start. So maybe before first question, did any of you studied the Bazi or know a bit about this topic? Write me yes or no on the chat. Okay, not yet. Okay, so the majority is no, but there are few yeses, which is good. Okay, so okay, nice, great. So I'm going to start just today on today's program. Basically, I'm going to go through the introduction to understand Chinese astrology, what it means. So there are a few terms that we need to understand before we start talking about the heavy things, like the deep information. Some things we need to be clear about and to understand them, about the heaven, the planets, yin-yang and 5 phases, from another approach, from another deep understanding. The heavenly stems, the earthly branches, and the binomes, which all represent the way we read the chart, the basic chart. Then on part 1, I'm going to talk about the chart itself. In there, what is the day master or master element? There are a few ways to describe this, the strength of the day master and the 5 factors, how all this affect about this basic potential energy of the map, okay, or the person in the map. And then on the part 2, it will be the personality types. Not wood here, personality types. With each of them, we're going to go through more deeply to understand all of them, and like general information, the nature of that, the character, and then the yang wood, for example, GI yang wood and yin wood, relationships that this day master have with the other elements in the map, the health, and how to balance all that. Okay, of course, how we can see that, and I will give some examples from famous people. Usually in courses or seminars, we can do it. In some certain cases, we can do this like maps of the participants, or some maps. But I will try. If of course, if we'll have time, I'll be happy to work with some interesting maps of yours. Okay. So materials that I'm using, or I used to build this seminar, are the variety of them from frontal studies that I did in the past, some books that you can see here, and some sites and various online studies that I did. But most of it, I think, will be from understanding, trying to understand myself and my patients through the years. This is, I can say for me, this topic is life-changing. And I'm not ashamed to say that it saved me personally, just by understanding who am I, what I need to do, what's my life focus, what should I do. Even after I started working, or practicing Chinese medicine, we always have highs and lows, and on the low times, it really helps me personally to direct myself better when I look at my chart, and always I learn another new thing, because time is moving on all the time, and there are some times which are favorable for us with our basic energy of the map, and the time that moves on, and sometimes it's not so favorable, and we need to understand the challenges that we might get or see in our life, in our practice, in everything, relationship, and whatever we do. So okay, so let's start. The Chinese astrology is all about cycles. It's all about movements and different meeting points that we can see between the stars. So these cycles of time, it's not a fortune telling. Okay, it's not like you look at the paper, of the weekend paper, and it tells you about the astrology, Western astrology mostly, that if you on this type, you're going to have this or that. It's not about this. It's about understanding the roadmap. I call it the glasses that we look through on ourselves and on our environment and all our relationships. So with that, we can see different available opportunities. and according to that, we can take the better choices in our life. So in Chinese astrology, we have mainly two methods to predict the annual luck pillar. We have the Shen Sha stars, also like the purple star. It's called in different ways, and we have the four pillars, which is Bazi. I will explain later on the meanings of that, but I will share mostly the information of the Bazi, the four pillars, and this is part of what I'm practicing, and it's easier for me to share this because I see the best results with this. So first of all, let's just understand where it all started. You know, Chinese people on the old times, the ancient Chinese, they looked at the stars and they wanted to understand how nature works. They needed the guidance, if it's on working on their fields as farmers, or if it's understanding how to, you know, for the leaders, when to start a war or whatever. So the different, I would say, structures that they found according to these movements, they presented it as like the 12 zodiac signs. Okay, each zodiac had its own specific information that they used to learn from it, and of course the difference between the Chinese astrology and the Western astrology as we know it is, of course, both of them are based on stars, but in Chinese astrology we have different cycles. It's actually, if we later on we're going to see how it works, but basically we have I wrote here like 12 millions to a million possible personal charts, but just try to understand this, that we have like 60 years, cycle of 60 years when the energy comes back to the same spot, but not exactly the same, but this big cycle of 60 years, this is the cycle that we work through. And in this cycle, we have other cycles of 12 years and 10 years and annual, like 1 year, and in the year, which is 12 months, we have days, like months, days, hours. So we have many, many possibilities to find out what is the potential energy of the map. Now, the maps, basically, they represent a certain time, specific time, which can be a time of birth, okay, when a person is born, or it can be also a specific time or event, okay? So I can tell you the truth. Before I got married, I went to my teacher and I asked her, which is the best timing for me and my wife to get married according to our maps. Okay, so actually it was this week, our 18th anniversary. So it's kind of nice to see that it still works and facts are facts. But anyway, Chinese astrology is based on cosmology. And we can say that part of the relationships that we as humans have with the universe, it's all about the different basic theories of yin and yang, the 5 phases or elements. They all represent this energetic change of different cycles of time and the different seasons. So the Chinese astrology deals with the quality and quantity of energy. We can say basically it's about availability also of each energy, of each phase from the time of birth. Okay, as I mentioned, as energetic DNA, and how this interaction with the chi of the universe and different people's chi. Okay, so we're going to touch that a bit deeper. Okay, but if we start to understand all the energy and the wider aspect, so it starts with the heaven. Heaven is the largest aspect of the universe. The physical heaven is divided to 4 parts. Each part is connected to different energies. So we have the Qian, which is in the center of all the four. So basically, if you look at the sky, you look up, so you have the center and you have the different four directions, okay? So each direction represents a specific energy. This is how ancient Chinese actually started to define the different directions, okay? So Qian is the center, it's visible through the yellow color and the yellow dragon. Yuan is the eastern heaven, represented by the green azure dragon, and its force comes from the turquoise color. We have the Hang, which is the southern heaven, and represented by the red vermilion bird and the red color. We have the Li, western heaven, and represented by the white tiger and white color. And we have the Zhen, which is the northern heaven and represented by the black turtle. Okay, this represents the unchangeable primal Qi force from heaven by the kidney yin, kidney yang, and the Jing. Okay, so on these basic directions, they found also the different wandering planets. Okay, so there are like 5 planets that go with the same direction up. I will start with this. So we have the Jupiter, and we have Mars, Venus, Mercury. When all of these 5 are again represented by the different directions, they are the physical bodies in the heaven, and they are rooted to the 5 forces of the heaven. So yeah, by the names, you can just see that. I don't need to read all of this, but the sun represents the yang, sorry, and the moon represents the yin, like and they're completing the 5 big stars, okay, that have the influence on us. From this, we go to the Qi. It's not mentioned down here. Down, you know, on the bottom line here, you can see where are we in the time of the lecture. Okay, so Qi is not mentioned. It's kind of part of all. Okay, but Qi, no need to mention the you know, the indications of Qi, but Qi is basically everything. It's energy that you know, for us as Chinese practitioners, Chinese medicine practitioners, Qi is everything in the different, we can say, flow of transformations, okay? Includes the matter and energy. And of course, we have the different tools in Chinese astrology and medical astrology to understand how the Qi affects, the effect of the Qi with all the different aspects that we know as yin and yang and 5 phases and the 10 heavenly stems, 12 earthly branches, and all the cycles of time. So the Qi is transforming, the Qi is changing all the time. So Qi is everything, and worth just mentioning the connection to that. Okay, when we talk about the yin and yang as the 2 completing opposites, represents the polarity and everything in the universe, it's very important for us, for this topic, to understand the polarities of yin and yang, because we're going to see that on every aspect here, on the stems, on the branches. So with the connection to the 4 directions and the development of the phases and the stems and branches, every aspect in life, we can see that as the relatively of yin and yang. We can view the universe as the integrated whole, of course, with the 2 opposites. And yeah, everything is basically on that. In Chinese astrology, it represents the major part to determine the true self, or the day master, what we call, on the different polarities. So if we can see type, like energetic type or day master of wood, it can be yang wood or yin wood. They have some changes, okay? They're not the same. Okay, so this makes that's the yin and yang, the specific connection of yin and yang in the topic here. So 5 phases. 5 phases are basically the foundation of the Bazi astrology. So I believe you all studied at least a bit about the 5 phases, but in what we're dealing here, it's all about the different relationships that the phases have with each other for the favorable and unfavorable effects on our energy or on the map, on the specific map, and the different circumstances of cycles of time. Each phase represents many aspects of the whole cycle, the season, the meridians, the emotions, colors, food, whatever, every aspect in life. And of course, the relationship with each other. And here it's the most important understanding of the availability of each phase. Okay, we have the different rules. So basically, it's all about achieving the balance. Okay, we want balance but again, from the beginning, we understand that there's no balance, and it's very difficult to obtain this balance. But this is what we are focused on: how to achieve the balance, even though the map or the chart is very difficult. Okay, and we're going to see. You're going to see maybe on your maps, or there's always some difficulty. Okay, it's not perfect, cycles that you can see all. I mean, this kind of I would say, if we see a chart that we have like 5 phases equal in their sizes, equal in their energy, so I haven't seen any of this, but if we see something like that, it means that there's a problem, there's stagnation, there's no movement. The whole movement starts when something is like some energies are strong, some energies are weak, and the interaction starts. Okay, it's like a dance, and then you have different kinds of levels and movements. So just to repeat the basics of that. Just one second. So we have the supporting, just to understand the cycles. Okay, later on, we're gonna see how it all comes together. Okay, so we have the supporting cycle when water supports the wood, wood supports the fire, fire supports the earth metal, and metal builds the water. Okay, we have I can call it the draining cycle, when the energy of specific certain element like sucks. It's like a child that overeating from the mother. Okay, so the water from the metal, like the opposite from the supporting, is like draining. So metal is draining from the earth from the fire from the wood, and wood from the water. So these conditions are conditions when one element, like the sun element, is stronger, okay, or more available. So this element demands more energy, and it will take the energy from wherever it can find. Okay, we have the controlling cycle, controlling or over controlling, when water controls the fire, which is like the basic rule, and the fire controls the metal, the wood, the earth, and earth the water. And the opposite is insulting cycle, when water, if they are stronger than the wood, if the water are stronger than the earth, so they will insult and they will flood. Okay, the earth insulting the wood insulting metal insulting fire, and fire insulting water. So it's all about, again, the availability of each element. We need to see that when we build a map, when we open a map, we want to understand what is stronger, which element or phase is stronger, and how it comes against the daymaster, against the holder of the map. Okay. There's another thing about the 5 phases, which is less studied, less known on the regular studies of Chinese medicine. And this is like the 12 chi stages. So these are 12 energetic phases. Each phase has a relationship with the whole. We can see here, again, the connection to the yin-yang 5 elements theories. It's important to understand the growth of the element, because we have different stages. You know, now it's basically the autumn. Okay, now we in the middle of September. It's according to Chinese astrology, it's the 2nd month of the autumn. Basically, it's the peak of the autumn. And we have different cycles. Now, autumn is connected to the metal energy. But if it's the peak of the energy right now, it started somewhere during the year, okay? And this is what we're gonna see right now. We have like 12, again, 12 phases for that, or 12 stages, when the first stage is the birth. The birth, and now we're going to call them by the numbers, okay? Stage number 1 to number 12. So the birth, just imagine it's like the time of birth, like a baby is born, okay? When baby is born, it's a very strong energy, okay? It means that the movement of this phase, of this stage is very, very strong. You know how much power it needs for the baby to come out. Okay, so it's strong. It has it's a very young. I mean, on the aspect of yin and yang. So it's a very young energy, and this kind of energy is it's very strong. Okay, but still, it's a baby just born. Still needs energy, needs support. Okay. So it's the beginning of the actual life. It's very delicate. Okay, we still need to protect it and to keep it safe. The second stage is the childhood. Childhood is the child is a bit older. Okay, still he's not so independent yet. Okay, he's more quiet. He's not crying and peeing all the time. Okay, he's more quiet. He plays alone, but still he's a small child and still weak. He's not a strong and big adult. Okay, the third stage is adolescence. So he is older now. He goes to kindergarten or to the school. He's more developing, he's more growing, but he's getting stronger, but still is under the development and he needs more direction now. Okay, he still is not on the age that he can support himself. And then we go to stage number 4. Now, all I'm saying now, just imagine different phases. Okay, so the wood phase has its own 12 stages, and the fire phase, and all the 5 phases, they have this cycle. Okay, except the earth, which I'm going to talk about later. So this is number 3. Stage number 4 is adulthood. So the child is now a bit, he's more grown up. He can, basically he's going to the independent life. He can survive by himself. He can study and work. He doesn't need his parents now. Okay, he's adult, he's strong, and it's possible to trust on him. Okay. And stage number 5, this is the prime time. Okay, this is the peak energy and the strongest energy of the element or the phase. It's like the peak of the career. Okay, we can say the ages between, I don't know, 40 to 60. Okay, in a way, after the person has studied, is grown up, he's adult, he has his own business or whatever, he's still very vital and strong enough. Okay, on the peak of his development. Okay, stage number 6 is the decline. It's the stage after. It's like if the peak is here, stage number 6 is the next one. Okay, after the peak, if we say it by the ages, so it's about after 60, okay? After 60, when it's more on the managing part, enjoying the life. He came to the peak, but now he doesn't need to work that hard. His reputation and his name still work for him, okay? But he is not doing all the job by himself, okay? So if I'll look at, you know, on us, for example, if we have our clinic and on the peak time, we do all the work. On stage number 6, we take step back, okay? We hire other practitioners, or we hire other people to help us because we're not that strong anymore. Okay, so stage number 7 is about the aging. It's retiring in a way. Okay, so the energy is not so strong there anymore, and yeah, it's basically the end of the energy cycle. Stage number 8 is the death, back to unity. Okay, there's no one to talk to. Okay, the person dies, or the energy dies. Stage number 9 is interesting one because it's the energy which is buried. What it means buried? It's in the ground, in the grave. Basically, it's also another name for this stage is the grave. Grave, basically the person is dead, but his bones are in the grave. And you know, there's stone on the grave itself, which is acting like antenna. Okay, the energy still comes, or still the energy in the ground. Okay, this is again the approach of the ancient Chinese, how they saw this, how they looked at these aspects. So this antenna is basically receiving the different chi from the environment and gets it to the grave. Now, this stage number 9 is it's not so useful energy. It's not useful unless there's some movement in the grave. So, for example, if you open the grave now, if you move the stone, so the energy that was there, because still energy of bones is still kind of quite strong. You know, if you look at many places in the world when people go to graves of, you know, old, I will say holy people, we have this in Jerusalem in the, you know, where Christians go to the, I forgot the name, where Jesus is buried. Okay, so they go to the grave and they hold it and they kiss the stone because they can get some energy from. The belief is that they will get some energy of the person who's buried there. Okay, so there is some energy in the grave, but only when there's some clash or some movement with other energies, and I'm going to show that on the next slide. But by itself, the energy is not available, only if there's another energy combined with that, okay? Stage number 10, 11, and 12, they are not available at all. They are useless, basically. And this is the time of, like, again, going back to the Tao, going back to the deep places in order to rebuild, okay, like for the new creation. Okay, so how we can see the effect of this? Okay, just later on we'll look at the questions. So how we see that in action? So let's say wood element. So here you can see on this, I don't know if you see where I mark, where I move with the mouse. If you see that, you know, maybe I'll just, okay, I'll make it, you see, okay, so yes, okay, so now you can see. So this is the whole cycle, stage number 1, 2, 3, and so on. We have the different seasons, okay, and the different months. So you don't see the month right here, but later on next slides, you will be able to see it. Just didn't want to mix it too much. But the basic approach is that we are, the like element or phase is born, the beginning of the, like stage number one is on the previous element or phase. Okay, so wood, we know the wood is the main energy in the springtime, right? So the wood energy is born in the time, in the prime time, or in stage number 4 of the winter. Let's say this. You know what? Once again, I'll start it that it will be more easy. The Chinese New Year starts on February, okay, which is stage number 4 here of the wood, okay? But it's the stage number 4 is the adulthood, okay, of the element. So we know the springtime is stages number 4, 5, and 6 of the wood. So if this is February, March, April, May, June, July, September, October, November, December, January, I missed one of them, okay, but this is the idea, okay, when February is here. Okay, still forgive me, I'm after flu. I'm still a bit clouded. Okay, so if the energy starts of the wood starts here, the beginning is in the previous season in the winter time. So stage number 1 is here, stage number 5 is here on March, and stage number 9 of the grave is right here on July. Now, you see that this triangle that represents one of the combinations that we have between the branches. Later on, I will talk about it, but just for you to remind that there is such a connection between 1, 5, and 9, okay? The strong energy, the young energy, the beginning of number 1, stage number 5 as the peak, and stage number 9 as the grave. Okay, so just keep in mind these 3 parts. Okay, so again, to make it simple, stage number 1 of the spring is on the beginning of the winter. Now let's go to the fire. Fire, we know the fire phase is responsible for the summertime, okay, like the main energy in summertime, and it begins in the spring. So stage number 1 of the fire will be here in February. Stage number 5 will be right here in the, basically in June. That's the strongest, the peak of the fire energy. And stage number 9 right here at the dog. Again, this combination. The next one, which is, we can maybe explain now the location right here, right now. So now, yeah, we're in the autumn, okay, metal energy. So it begins in the snake on May. Number 5 is where we are now, okay, in September. And number 9 right here on January. Okay, so basically in the summertime, metal began. Now it's the peak energy of the autumn, of the metal energy. And last one for this part is the water. Water are born in the autumn time. So last month on the monkey on August, the water the energy of the water started and began, okay? Now we are on the second level, second stage of the water, and the peak time is on stage number 5, okay? Stage number 5, which is December, okay? December is the coldest month, basically, in most of the places, and this is about it. So stage number 1, 5, and 9. Now, I didn't talk about the earth. What about the earth? So earth is a bit different. The earth has basically no specific season. The Earth is here all the time. Okay, we can't say that in comparison to the autumn time, now when it begins to be more dry in on the aspect of autumn, or in the summer, we know it's much hotter, or springtime is, everything grows and there's lots of movement, and winter is cold and freezing. Earth is always existing, but the Earth gets the energy of the season, of that specific season. So we have 12 months, the Earth existing on all these 12 months, but there are 4 months of Earth which are stronger. And you see them in the darker brown here, okay? And this month, we can see it on the next slide, basically, but these months are the ending of each season. So we have, let's say, the autumn right now, okay? So we have the first month of the autumn, the second month of the autumn, which is the peak. And like it begins usually with yang metal, then yin metal, and then the earth after the metal, at the end of the metal. Okay, so these 4 months are the strongest of the the earth energy. Another aspect of the earth is to consider the earth as growing with the fire. Again, the earth begins with the fire. So if I'll go back for a second, so if the fire begins right here at stage number 1 on February, the earth will begin with it. So we can say that also the earth has the strongest time. So we have the 4 months of the earth, okay, right, like the 4 corners, but also stage number 4, 5, and 6 of the fire are also strong energy, the strongest energy of the earth. Okay, we know the earth as the connector, as the phase that connects all the other elements. It's like coming back home, coming back to the base. And this is, we can actually say it's part of how the earth merges in all the other, with all the other elements, but it has more specific, unique connection to the fire. So later on maps, we can see that when we see the energy of the earth phase, we can consider it as also, or when we see fire, we can see also that earth is stronger. Okay, so this is about the 12 stages. Here we can see them all in like one place, even with some animation. Oh, no, wait. Well, doesn't matter. So we can see that in the winter, we have stage number 1, 5, and 9, stage on the springtime of the wood, and summertime, the fire, autumn with the metal. Okay, so basically every month here has different stages of different elements or different phases. Okay, so let's take September, where we are now. So for the for the energy of the metal, it's the peak energy. For the fire, it's stage number 8. Okay, remember it's like not so available anymore, or less available. For this, in the spring, for the wood energy, it's stage number 11, not available at all, basically. So wood is the weakest. The wood energy is the weakest during this time. Okay, that's why we can see many allergies. Or, the immune system is a bit weaker, okay? And for the water energy, we can see that this is stage number 2, okay? So same month, different energies of different phases. Is this understood so far? Are you with me? Because I don't see you and I don't hear you. I don't know. Okay. Okay, good. Yes, okay, great. So we can go on. Yes, so let me just take 1 second for reading the chat, because I see that there are some questions here. Okay, so a question from Christina. What if someone is cremated? Basically, I don't know how to refer to this because the energy still exists there. Okay, but if there's one place the patient, or the patient, I say, if there's one place the person is stays, so the wherever it is, so the energy can get there. I guess, but I don't have like a good answer for that. Sorry. Okay. Yes. We need to go back over. Okay, we'll go back. I would like repeat from last slide. Okay. Over again. Okay. So you mean okay? I'll just go till the end. Okay. 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 Of course. Well, let me tell you something. I'm dealing with these materials for like, again, 19 years, and I still have many things that I need to repeat again and again. Part of my study or understanding these topics is to rewrite it all the time and to make different, I will say, graphics, because usually it's not like that. I mean, in the books, it's just for me, I get the information, especially in this kind of case. It's more easy for me when I see a picture or when I see some graphics. So, of course, we're going to go through this again and again. Don't worry. I can go back. You know what? I'll show it. Let me continue with the presentation. I believe I will answer your questions or repeating this once again on different variations. Okay, so because I made it in few options. Okay, in few ways. So just a bit more. Okay, if it won't be understood, of course I'll go back and I'll explain it better. Okay, so here in this slide we can see the whole year. When in each year we have the month, the animal, and basically the meridian which is connected, where we have the like 5 directions, okay, or 4 directions with the in the middle. Here we have the meridians inside, but we can see here how the elements are divided in a year. So as I mentioned on the previous slides, we have the springtime, which is the strongest wood energy. Okay, we have February, March as the tiger and the rabbit, and the 3rd month is the earth, which here is dragon. Okay, we have the summer, snake and horse, and the 3rd month of the fire or the summer is the goat. Okay, and here September we are in the rooster, kidney, meridian, and so on. So this is just, again, when you look at the whole picture. When, you know what, let me jump. Maybe, no, I won't jump. I'll continue with the same order. Yeah. So I'll repeat once again. Okay, so I'll go through this again. We have 12 stages for each we have 12 stages for each element, okay, or each phase. The birth of the element, number 1, which is on the previous season. The adulthood, prime, and decline, which are basically the prime energy of the season itself. So now we are in the autumn. So this is the metal energy, which is strongest. And then we have 3 other parts after the decline, okay? So stage number 7, 8, and 9, the energy is not available anymore, okay? The energy retired, died, and now it's buried. And the last 3, 10, 11, and 12, the energy is not available at all, okay? It's in the opposite way. So it's not available, and it's just a way that, you know, if you take a seed in the ground, okay, seed of a tree, okay, apple tree or apple. So the seed is in the ground, in the soil now, and the seed develops, takes some time until we see the sprout on the springtime. Okay, so all during the winter, if I'll take just the basic idea of that, so the birth time is like the energy begins in wood, and then it comes up to the fire, and then it comes to the metal, and then it comes to the 3 last ones, to the water energy, when everything is inside. After the 12, again, we go back to stage number 1. So this is a cycle, and this cycle, we can see that again on these movements. So we talk about the energy of wood, okay, 12 stages of the wood. So wood starts, wood is in the spring, the peak or the prime time of the spring of the wood is in the spring. So it begins on the winter, okay, on the peak, on the high, okay, on November. So stage number 1, stage 4, 5 are the strongest, stage number 9. If we see these 3, basically 3 branches or 3 energies of rabbit, later on I will talk about the branches and you understand better what I'm saying. But if I see all these 3 together in the map, so the energy of the wood is even stronger, okay? Even though this is water, okay? And this one is earth at the end of the fire, at the end of the summer, okay? But they have this connection just because of the development of the 12 stages of the specific phase, okay? So we have this for each of them. Again, fire begins in the springtime with number 1, peak is number 5, and autumn begins in the summer, beginning of the summer, stage number 1, 5 at September, and 9 in January. And water begins in the autumn, stage number 1, 5 is the peak, and stage number 9 at April, okay? So, and Earth, again, once again, the Earth have 4 specific areas where it's stronger, but also on the time of the summer, okay? Because Earth is born with the fire element, okay? So I hope it's more understood. Just I'm reading the questions. Okay, yeah. So later on, I will talk about the day masters and all. I promise it should be more easy to understand. I didn't get why 1, 5, and 9. Okay, so Sibyl. So stages number 1, 5, and 9 are because of the development. We said that stage number 1 is connected to the beginning, okay, the birth. So the strong energy of birth. So this is 1. Stage number 5 it's the prime, it's the peak of the energy. So it's the strongest. And stage number 9 is strong because of the grave, because of the energy which is buried. Okay, so we can use this energy on certain conditions. If we have strong energy of 1 and 5 together, this energy kind of makes some movement and creates the movement of the stone from the grave, and that makes this energy available of stage number 9. Okay, the energy in the grave. Okay, so let me go on. Okay, so and okay, so I'll continue next part. Okay, the 12 heavenly stems. So 10 heavenly stems are basically the indications of the 5 phases united with the yin and yang energy that create 10 energies. Basically each element has aspect of yang and yin. So we have the jia, which is the yang wood, and we have the yi, which is yin wood. It's here, plus is yang, minus is yin. Okay, and so on. Bing and ding and wu and ji, gang, shin, ren and gui. Okay, and they have this kind of movement in the cycle. Okay, it starts with the wood, the beginning, and the beginning of the growth. So celestial stems transform the heavenly energy and making it related for men. So this kind of energy, you remember at the beginning, I talked about the different stars from each direction. So these stars have the impact on us, and this impact is reflected in this energy of the 10 stems. They are also connected to the earthly branches because these are energies basically, okay? But the 10 stems are the energies that comes from heaven, okay? Comes from heaven and affecting us. Later on, we will see the branches, how they relate to our here and now, basically. Okay, so if we'll give like the basic indications for each of these. So again, we start with the numbers. Also here we have numbers. So we have the jia, the young wood. The young wood is like a big tree. Just imagine the tree that just comes out very strongly. So it's a strong wood, strong generating force, okay, breaking through. The yi, representing the yin wood, it's a small plant like grass or bush. So it's a weak generating force, but it's the image of early growth with young and bending stems and branches. We have the bin, which is like the young fire. It's the strong, the quick burning with fire, big flames like the sun, like forest fire, and so on. This is a very, very strong fire. Later on, by the way, we're going to talk about the 10-day masters, which are based on these. Okay, they are based on the 10 heavenly stems. Just according to the location of where the stem is in the map, in the chart, we can see which day master it is. Okay, so the ding is the yin fire. It's a soft burning fire like a candle. Okay, the wu is the young earth, like dry earth, like rocks, stones, mountain. The ji is the yin earth, moist earth, like soil in the garden or sand. The gang is young metal, sharp and cutting like a sword or axe. It's a very strong reforming force. We have the shin, yin metal, which is round and polished like a ring or jewelry. We have the ren, which is the strong water, the strong aspect of water, like mountain river, or you know, like a tsunami in a way. Very strong river or ocean, very strong energy of the water. And the gui, the yin water, is like unmoving water, like a lake or fog or even rain, like soft water. Okay, so each of the 10 stems is representing one of the five, one aspect of the 5 phases according to the yin or yang polarity of that. Okay. We have in the map later on, just to know, for you to know that there is such a thing, we have connections between the different stems and branches. I'm just mentioning this. I don't want to get too deep into that. We can go back to this later on when we'll see the chart. But because I'm talking about the stems, I added this slide here. So we have different connections. Okay, like the connection we have between the phases, the elements. So it's like a competition with the opposite side. This is like stronger clash, stronger effect than the regular control in the 5 elements control cycle. They clash yang with yang, so Jia, yang wood clashes with yang metal, with the gang, and so on. Yang water with yang fire. Okay, these are the clashes. And the clash of the stems creates the potential for a change. Later on the maps, we will see what it means. But for now, just we want to understand that there is such a thing, there is such an option. Okay. There are also stem combinations, which are, it's like the guest host or husband-wife yin-yang pairs. This is more connected to different transformations in the map when 2 energies create another third energy, like Jia and Ji, yang wood and yin earth, they create the energy of earth. I don't want to get stuck in this or to go too deep into this because it might confuse you for now, for this stage. We can go back to this later, but all I'm saying is just I want you to know later on, you can repeat it, you can print the presentation, you can see that later on, all the information on the maps that you're going to open. And again, it's about searching and it's about learning through your patients, through your the maps that you open or you build to see these connections. And again, there are more than 12 million options for charts. We don't need to memorize. We can just see the different aspects through what I'm going to show you later on also. Okay, so just for you to know that these kind of stem combinations. Don't worry if you don't understand it right now. Okay. The 12 earthly branches. Just checked. Okay, the number. Okay. So the 12 earthly branches. So they represent the chi of earth. The chi of earth that we have here through the different seasons according to the development of the elements themselves. You can see I wrote here hidden elements. I will mention that later, but yeah, I will mention that later, hidden elements, don't worry. They reflect the earth energies and correspond to 12 months of the year and 12 double hour cycles. Okay, the Chinese clock. So we have them on the years, we have them on the months, we have them on the days, and we have them on the hours, as we're going to see in the Bazi chart in a short time. Okay, the branches have many correspondences, including the main element, okay, which we can see here. So the tiger is connected to the wood, okay? The Chinese zodiac animal, which is the tiger, which is a presenter, basically, of what is the meaning of this phase, okay, of this energy of the branch. We have the geographical location, so here it's in the east. and we have the acupuncture channel, which here is the lung. Okay, it's about the deep energies which are connected to again this different cycles, and they contain the 10 stems with extra earth branches that also contain yin and yang aspects. Okay, so we have here the 5 for each element. Basically, you see that we have 2 months, okay, or 2 branches, but only the earth have 4 branches. Why? Because the end of each month, or sorry, the end of each season is with the branch, with the energy of the earth branch. Okay, so we're gonna go and see that these 10, like the 5 elements, we can see them on the stems, we can see them in the branches, and now we're going to see, in a bit, we're going to see how they are all together as in the map. Okay, so just a bit. I want to go there, but I need to go a bit faster. Otherwise, we won't have enough time. So 12 earthly branches. Okay, so again, if you look at the whole cycle of a year, it starts with the number 1. Number 1 is the Z, the young water, the rat. And okay, right here, starts with the gallbladder channel, basically. But the energy of the branches usually starts right here. Later on, I have a slide that I'm going to show you how exactly all the stems and all the branches are going together. And this is just the way it goes, okay, according to the different cycles. So the first stem is the Jia, the young wood, and the first branch is Z, which is the water, okay, the young water. Young water is in the, okay, I will talk about it later also. There are few branches that change their polarity in the map. Okay, in the chart, basically Z is the beginning as young water, but in the map it changes to yin water. But putting it aside, don't worry, we'll talk about it, because you might see that it's a bit different in this slide. So again, the Z is the energy of productiveness, like seed beneath the earth, absorbing moisture and nutrition, and then it goes to the chow, okay, the ox. The image is a sprout before it reaches to the surface. It's the underground growth. Then we have the number 3, the young wood, the tiger, crawling sprout that meets the warmth of the air, and the final stretch out of the earth. So this is like the breaking through of the energy. And then we have the mouth, the yin earth, the rabbit. It's like, again, just imagine, the images are referring to the growth, like any seed in the ground becomes a tree with all the with all what it has to show, okay, with the flowers and fruit. And then when it ends, and the ripeness and the harvest and so on. So this cycle of the earthly branches is basically representing the time of the year, of the quality of that element. Okay, so we can see here that it begins, again, if it's a cycle, you can see that Z and High, like rat and pig, they are connected together, okay? So we have the time of the water, we have the time of wood, we have the time of fire, we have the time of metal, and we have, again, the time of water, when the earth is in between, kind of connecting and making it all like as earth connecting all together. Okay, so it's all written here. I want to move on, okay, with your permission. The branch, also the branches, they have different clashes. that mostly go with the opposites. Now we know this in acupuncture. If you use the balance method, for example, so many times it's another way to balance the excess on the other side. Okay, so gallbladder and heart, large intestine and kidney, and so on. Okay, so again, we don't need to remember this right now. Just when we analyze the map, we can see that these energies kind of they can clash, okay, with each other. Except the clashes, we have combinations. Okay, so combinations, as I mentioned before, with the Trinity combinations, they have a strong effect on each other. And these triangles, as you can see, again, there are the stages number 1, 5, and 9 of each element or each phase. Okay, so these are all together. So each branch is connected somehow to other branches and has the effect on the strength of the element itself. Okay. Okay. So the influence, it can be favorable or not, depending on the person's map. So if, for example, a person has lots of wood energy, so more wood is not exactly good for him, okay? And he will need some other energies that can balance him. Okay, so if there's lots of wood, we're going to need some fire and some metal to balance the overgrowing tree. Okay, so this is one thing that we need to see in consideration. Now we have these forms of elements, again, that they can create, or they can, as I told you, we have different aspects of each triangle. So let's take, for example, you know, the yo, okay, the rooster, September, this is the month right now. It's the month of the rooster, the peak energy of the autumn or metal. So if someone has in the map, or you know what, if someone, let's go for this example. If someone has in his map the energy branches in the map, we have 4 branches in the map, right? We have a year, month, day, hour. If someone has rooster with snake, with ox, so the energy of the metal is much stronger. Even though he has only 1 branch of metal, the hidden elements, which I mentioned before, the hidden elements in the snake, there is stage number 1 of the metal, and in the ox, there's stage number 9 of the metal. So they are both connected to the stage number 5 of the metal. Okay, metal is going underneath all of them. And we're going to see that later on the big picture. Okay, so again, so rooster, we have it right here, rooster with ox and snake, they create a stronger energy of the metal. So this is what we can see in the maps. We have another strong combination of seasonal combination. So 3, if we have 2 or 3 branches in the map from the same direction or the same season. So for example, someone with the rooster has also monkey and dog. So the energy of the metal is even stronger. Okay. So we have these 3 combinations. 2 or 3 are actually very strong energy of that element. So now, okay, before you get panic from this table, let me just read some of the chat. Okay. So yes, so lung and large intestine, they are not, they are metal meridians which are connected to the metal, but on the deep energy, they are connected to wood. Okay, deep, again, it's more about the Chinese astrology. It will take some more time to explain this, but basically this is part of classical acupuncture, when we understand like deep energies which are connected to the different directions. Okay, but for the maps and for the treatment, I will explain to you how to use it. Okay, don't worry about that. So now, what you see here is something which took me a while to go through, to create, in order to make some order to myself many years ago. This is actually like we have the 12 branches in a year cycle. What it means, we have each of the branches or the zodiac. We have here all the information about all the other phases too. So I talked about September, this is now, okay? So we have here the rooster. We are right here. So it's connected to the kidney meridian, the hours between 5 to 7 p.m. It's stage. Now, here you see the colors with the numbers of each of the elements. So let's start from the beginning. It's stage number 2 of the water, stage number 5 of the metal, the peak, the strongest, stage number 8 of the fire, not so available, stage number 11 of the wood, not available at all, and stage of the earth, which is locked. Next month will be a stronger month for the earth. Okay, so here what you see is like the peak energies in the inside drawing, the peak energies of each element. Okay, and this reminds us where we are. So when I see a certain map, I go to this chart and I want to understand what's the meaning of that. Okay, so if a person has, I don't know, if a person has some weaknesses or excesses in the map, I can understand why it happens. Okay, according to the first of all, I can understand what's the energy or what's the availability of each energy in the map according to these. Okay, so this helps us to understand the amounts of the available energies of the phases. Okay, if we go to the corners, they represent the beginnings of each energy. So here, the tiger, it's stage number 1 of the fire. The snake here, stage number 1 of the metal. The Shen, stage number 1 of the water. And the pig, stage number 1 of the wood. Okay, we have stages number 5 usually. Now, when we say hidden elements, these are all what we see in here. So usually we must have at least one strong energy of each, to each of the branches. Okay, number 4 or 5, or at least 6. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6. So each season, each direction must have one strong element. Okay, but with that, there are less, like not so strong, but still available energies. So as we said here on the rooster, we have the hidden elements of water, number 2, number 8 of fire, and number 11 of wood. None of them is that strong. Okay, in comparison, for example, to right here, okay, Shen the monkey, we have number 1, which we said is strong, and number 4, which is also very strong. Okay, we have here on the, so all these are the hidden elements, just depends on the availability of them. We need to understand that if it's available or not, the energy. Okay, if we see in the chart And later on, I will show you how we see the charts. Okay, we'll get to that. If we see on the chart that there's only one element or only one phase, so it means that it's on the peak energy. If there are few, it means that there are some hidden elements. Okay, and okay, this is another table that I made in order to show everything, how it goes together. Just I will explain on one of them how to look at this. Later on, you can, of course, go back to this and try to understand what's going on here. Okay, so we have the branch and the zodiac, we have the season, we have the direction in the body or in the house. Also, it's connected to Feng Shui. Basically, Feng Shui, if any of you know it, if you used it, if you learned it, Feng Shui is part of what we do in Chinese astrology, basically, and we match the map of the space to the map of the person, and then we want to see how they work together. Okay, so it's about the north and about the back. It's the month when it starts. Okay, this branch starts on the December 7. Which phase organ, which organ kidney, which phase water, which organ kidney, meridian, gallbladder, hour, note, musical note even, okay, that we can find. Main stem is the gray. So here you can see hidden stem 1, hidden stem 2. So in the gray, because it's stage number 5, also here you can see the different phases. Okay, so stage number 5, it's the peak. It has no other competitors. So stage number 5, no hidden stems because all the others are too weak. Okay, if we go to the Cho, it's in the winter, it's January 6 until February 4. Yeah, it's the earth, it's the spleen, it's the meridian, liver meridian, and so on. And here we can see main stem and hidden stem, okay, for each of these. Okay, so it's all written here, and even the hexagram which is connected. So this is something, again, it's a whole day just to work on this table to understand all this, but you have the time, take your time later on after the seminar. It's a mind-blowing, but it's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn from it. But again, if you print it and you work with this on your, on the maps, on the charts, it might get everything more simple and more easy, at least. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the binome. So what is binome? Binome is the connection between stem and branch, okay, and it represents the flow of the energy. If each year, month, day, hour contain a stem and a branch. So we call it binome or binomial. The binome are organized in cycles of 60, which include every combination of stems and branches. There are six cycles of 10 stems and 5 cycles of 12 branches, which creates 60-year cycle, or cycle of 60 of all the binomes. The cycle begins with the first binomial, Jia, young wood, and Z, the rat. Time of birth is it's created by the time of birth and by the place of birth. We use the solar calendar, which New Year starts on February with Yin, tiger branch, or young wood energy month. The day begins after midnight, okay, in the middle of the Z, the rat time, which is 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. So this is, again, the times that we use, because in 24 hours, we use 12 double hours, okay, basically, on the Chinese approach. So when a day goes, changes, the day changes on this time between 11 to 1, okay? And hour, yeah, on the standard double Chinese hour. So here we can see, yeah, I know these are some, sorry. So breathe, relax, don't worry from all what you see. If you go by the list, the beginning of the last cycle of 60 years of Jia, Yang Wood, and Rat, it began on 1984. Okay, so the left side is the 10 stems, the right side is 12 branches. Until they meet again, so we have 10 and 10 and 10 and 10 and 10 and 10, and we have 12, 12, 12, 12, and 12. Until they will meet again, it's after 60, the repeat of 60 years in this part, okay? But it goes also for the month and for the days and for the hours, okay? There's a way of calculating all that. Okay, just I'm reading the chat, okay? I see there are few questions about the understanding of the channels in it. Put it in the side right now. I will go to this later on when we'll talk about the treatments, okay? Don't worry about this. Okay, don't worry. I know it takes time to understand it, but my aim is that you'll start exploring this world, which is again, it's amazing as I see it, and it works in a very good way when we want to understand the deepest aspects of the patients, okay, or ourselves. So, but be patient. We still have a few more hours to go through and to understand more. It's the beginning, and there are many terms that need to be understood before we start digging into the materials. Okay, so sorry for it takes a bit more time, but slowly. It's built on step by step. Okay, so again, so this is the cycle of 60, and in this cycle, we can see, there's should be circling, never mind. So, so here you can see again the combinations of the inner cycle, the circle here shows us the stems and the branches. So now we're on the year, the 39 year, since this cycle started on 84, which is young water, Ren, with the tiger, Yin. Okay, so 39, if I'll go here, 39, okay, so you see the stem here and the branch here. So stem of young water with branch of young wood. Okay, so this is the cycle, it goes on, and yeah, okay. Another term that we want to understand, that we use in the maps, is the 10-year fate cycle. This represents the combination of stem and branch that influencing 10 years through the person's lifetime. And when you calculate the map, later on I will explain how to do that. In the past time, we had to, write it down or work with all the sheets and calculate it. It was very difficult, but then internet came and made everything much easier with softwares and so on. So we just do it on the computer these days, and or mobile phone, whatever, internet. You just need internet and you get the map. So from the time of birth, on certain time, on the first decade of the person, there's influence of 10 years. Okay, so it's like the postnatal energy that influences the person's map. Again, it can be, it's more dynamic. okay? Because again, we are born on a certain time, which is the prenatal energy, okay? We have the year, month, day, and hour. We have the binomes, the stems and branches of the prenatal energy. This is the 4-pillar map, okay? Each one is pillar. And we have the 10-year cycle, which is, again, a postnatal energy of stem and branch for 10 years. So imagine a very strong influence that influences our life. It can be favorable or not on us for 10 years. And so it makes it much more dynamic, again, in the possibilities of what we can do or what is influencing our lives, whether we know or aware of it or not. Okay, so it's important to know it, because when we know, we can do something about it. We can bypass it. We can do something that will help us to go through challenges and difficulties, basically, because this is all what we want to see in the map. We want to find the balance, even if we were born with some difficulties and the basic potential energy. Okay, so okay, so far was the first part of the introduction. Okay, now we're going to start to understand the BASI chart, and meantime you will have we still have like 15 minutes till the break, so we still have enough time. I'll just go fastly on the chat. Okay, challenge, yes, it's a challenge, Nicole, to learn it. I know the writing on charts is very small on our copies. Okay, so the writing on the charts, maybe it's possible to enlarge it somehow. You mean Jan or Jan Dun, the writing you mean on the cycle of 60 of binoms? This is what you meant? Okay. Okay, so number 39 in, yeah, so this is this year, okay, 2020, 2022, this is this year. I hope it was understood. I just marked it. Again, I mentioned it on the cycle that started on 1984, okay, and goes back. So the next cycle will start on 2044. Okay. Okay, Victoria. I'm not explaining the steps. Then you go to something else. I keep asking. I'm not combining. Okay. Okay, Victoria. Victoria, can you please write me? Maybe I missed some of your previous questions. Can you write me in private, please? What you're most concerned about? What is mostly difficult for you? Okay, and I will try to give the best answer. Okay, but still, I know we're going step by step. There are a few more things that will be explained later on, obviously. Okay. Okay. So let's go on. Okay, please, with your permission. I want to start on talking on the BASI chart before we start the break. So on the BASI basically from Chinese is 8. Ba is 8, and Zi means the characters, like 8 characters. But we also call it 4 pillars of destiny. So we have 4 pillars: 1 pillar of the year, 1 pillar month, 1 pillar day, and 1 for the hour. eventually, because of the combination of stem and branch, we have 8 different positions here in the map. Okay, that these 8 positions, they represent all we need to know about the map itself. So we have 2 systems that we use based on Taoism to understand the nature's rhythm. We have the earth luck, effect of energetic cycles on home business, which is like feng shui, to understand the environment, to understand the space. And we have the heaven luck, the effect of energetic cycles on humankind. Here we have the Bazi, the 8 characters, and we have Ziwei Dou Shu, which is the purple star astrology. Okay, again, today we talk about the Bazi. The diagnosis that we can get from this map of the 4 pillars represents who the person is, how he thinks, acts, interacts with himself and the environment and other people, with partners, parents, kids, work, romance, sex, career, wealth, relationship with money, prosperity, health, and the tendency to diseases. So basically, again, as I said at the beginning, it's the glasses that the person puts on and sees the reflection of himself and all the aspects in his life. Okay, now there is on the Chinese metaphysics, there's like definition of 3 parts that we can basically use. It's like heaven, it's earth, and it's the man. Each power or each part have a certain power of like 33%, okay, of influence influence on the person's destiny. Okay, so the part of the heavenly influence is giving us the potential of, again, 1/3 of the potential. It means that what we see here in the map, again, is potential. It doesn't mean that this is necessarily what will happen in the patient or in the person's life, but it can show us the obstacles. It shows us the availability of options, opportunities, and talents, different talents that the person has. And according to that, we can act, or we can give, if it's for our patients, we can give the recommendations of what to do and how to do. Okay, we can understand if we have some difficulties or boundaries, and if we have these, we will avoid of effort or extra effort of work that we can do in different aspects in our lives, which we're not so good at. So it's always better to work or to polish and to work better on our more powerful aspects than trying to build what we are weak at. Okay, so we need to know what we are able to do, what we are not able to do, what we can do better or not, and this is part of what we use in the analyzing the different events with the Chinese astrology and with the Bazi. So basically, I mentioned also before that it's not a fortune telling. But it's very, I will say, this system is based on thousands of years of exploring and learning how everything works in nature. It's quite science, I will say. I see it again, every map I made so far, I found it perfect without even knowing the patient, without knowing the person, just seeing. And this is one of the things I do before I meet a new patient. I check the time of birth to understand what's going on, who's the person, how to interact with the person, how the person, of course, to see the basic potential or what might be damaged or harmed in the patient's emotional and physical aspects. We can see that, all that. But I want to get a clue of who the person is on the deepest level of the personality, okay, which is very important. We all can do and we all can achieve anything or everything in life, but it's important to know how to approach and what's our roadmap in order to get this. Okay, so our way, again, as I said, in the old times, we used to calculate with the papers, and now these days we have many apps. You can find it in the App Store or in the or just on search on Google with the for 4 pillars calculator. I usually use 4pillars.net. The software of them that I'm using, which is very easy because it's on my computer, and it just gives me more information for other aspects too. But anyway, it's all there. And when I make the map or the chart, when I plot the chart, I will just see it specifically. I will just see this kind of code. Okay, so you can use anything else that you want. Okay, so how it works. When we see the basic chart, again, each pillar represents different aspects, okay? Yeah, just some questions. Person was born in another country, other time zone. Yeah. So again, in the different calculators, you can put the location. Of course, it has meanings. The location of the country or even the city. It's important on different, on big countries. If we don't know the hour, never mind. So we have one pillar less. Many examples I gave here today in the later on that we will see, I didn't have the hour, okay, of all kind of famous people, but of course most of the patients, they know the hour. It's possible also to check it on the different offices or hospitals, but if we don't know, so 1/4 of the map is missing, but still it's not that. I mean, all we need to know is year, month, day. They are the most important. Okay, hour represents other things that we're going to talk about right now. Okay, so the year basically represents. So here you can see. Whatever is in the different boxes represents the specific information for that position. Okay, so we have we have what the year represents and what the stem of the year, what the branch of the year. Okay, so we'll start with, first of all, the year represents the childhood time. Between time of birth to 17, approximately, okay, just the average, okay, just get the idea of that. It represents the grandmother, grandfather, basically the grandparents and the year. The physical and materialistic world, life outside with social interactions. So it means how we are how the person sees himself. Again, this is the very specific point of view of the person, of himself. So how the person sees himself interacting on the outside world. It means with in school, okay, in school or in like after school, or if it's on working outside, or everything which is on the outside world. okay, or grandparents, how he sees the connection between them. What we do and create in life, this represents more on the emotional aspects or our ambitions on the stem, on the branch, family heritage, Jing and health. We can see that later on, again, according to the day master, which we're going to talk about right away. According to the day master, we can see the interactions between these. Okay, so just a bit more. Be patient. I'm sure it will be more understood. So the month represents the adulthood designed by others who affect our identity. This is the emotional world, life at parents' home. It also represents career and how and life focus, basically, mostly on the okay. So the whole pillar represents the emotional world and the adulthood, okay, and the life at parents' home after we are born and raised. But with that, it represents father and mother. Father can be father figure. It can be anyone above us on the hierarchy. It can be older brother. It can be father. It can be boss. It can be teacher or therapist. When stems represent basically male energy and branches represent female energy. So the mother will be represented in the branch of the month, mother or female boss or sister, older sister, or teacher, female teacher. Okay, so this is one part of that. And the emotional aspects, the stem will represent the emotional filter and expressions, and the branch will represent what motivates our emotions and how we digest emotions. Okay, but also how we consider our life focus and our career. The day is the most important part of the map, because it represents who we are, who the person is. This is what we call the day master or master element. There are certain ways. Who am I? What I expect from the world and how I interact with the world. The universal archetypes. The branch represents, and so again, the day master will be represented by one of the 10 heavenly stems. And according to that, it will influence the personality. Okay, the partner will be in like the branch will be partner in relationship, like in marriage or you know, any kind of close relationship, or even partner at work as one-on-one. And basically it represents how we act behind closed doors. So the day and the hour, the year and the month represent our outside world. The day and the hour represent our inside world. Okay, it's when we are with ourselves, with our partners, with our family. And the time that it represents is basically the adulthood. So let's say the average of 35, the ages 35 to 51, we can say that as what we do as responsible adults, okay? The hour represents everything which is under our responsibility, which means how we interact with everyone under us. It can be children, it can be like kids. So on the hour, the stem of the hour, which will be male, children, kids, patients, employees, pets, even relationship with the high knowledge of the Shen. And on the branch, it will be connected more to the female children, and one again under our responsibility, and the ability to connect to spirituality and the deepest desires. Okay, so again, it's the time where we are less productive. It's the That's about the spirituality, expression, also in career and children, and also in sex. It's under our influence. Okay, we influence this on the strongest part. So again, these are the 4 pillars. And the maps later on, we can see and understand how we see that. So for example, if we see a day master who is, I don't know, let's say, okay, later on, we will see examples, okay? Meantime, on the break, you will be able to plot your chart, and we can relate that in a way. I see that the picture is moving in a bit. Okay, so for every day master, a few more minutes just before the break. Okay, I want to finish this part. For every day master, we have some ways to evaluate the strength. It's according to the different types or polarities of yin and yang, or the different elements or the phases, the availability of them. So according to the seasons, according to the relationship with other elements, according to other stem and branch combinations and clashes. Okay, all these will be in a way that we can see a specific day master right here, which is born in specific season. Okay, so if we have, for example, let me just one second. So if here we have like Bing, okay, let's say Yang, sorry, moved too fast. So if, for example, we have the master who's Yang Fire, okay, Yang Fire, which is born during, so let's say Yang Fire. Why it's happening? Okay, doesn't matter. Yang Fire, day master, who's born during the season of the fire, during Si, Wu, or Wei. Obviously, this day master will be very strong. Okay, but if again the fire day master will be born in the time of the winter, the day master will be weak from the beginning. Okay, unless he has more availability of fire in other places in the map. Okay, according to that, we can see if the day master is strong or weak. Okay, another way, so this is the strength of the day master according to the season. Another aspect of that, of the strength of the day master, will be according to the different connections. So I know it looks bad, but just imagine that day master has connections with all the other places in the chart. So if we could take in consideration that every branch might have also the different, let's say, different, sorry, just I need the marker once again. So if every day master has its own connections with the other places in the chart. So for example, day master Yang Fire connects with the month. If the month is Yang Metal or Yang Water or Yang Fire, the connections will be different. Okay, the same is if the day master has a connection to the year branch or the hidden elements in the branch. Okay, so all these connections are possible, and it just shows us how many possibilities we have in the map. Okay, another way to look at that is all the options are right here. So every day master, so let's take again Bing, Yang Water, Yang Fire day master, how he interacts when he has different combinations in every place in the map, okay, on the stems and on the branches. Okay, so this is about the connection, and when we will have examples, it will be obviously much easier to understand. One more thing before the break is the 5 factors which we need to understand what they mean. So each connection that the day master has, doesn't matter which element he is, he has 5 connections. Day master with himself. So if the day master is yang fire, once again, he will have a connection of parallel connection with every yang fire in the map, or every fire in the map. Okay, so this is parallel. Parallel represents friends, same element. Okay, friends or competition. If there's too much fire in the map, it might represent also competition. If the fire is in the month, so it will be competition, the feeling of competition at home or with the bosses, or if it's in the year, so it will be competition with friends outside. Okay, the next connection, next factor, relationship, is the output. For the day master, his output is on the son or the child element. Okay, it means expression through the work or through creativity. Okay, so again, let's take the example of fire. So fire will express himself through the earth element. Okay, this is the his creativity, his work will be done through this output. The next one is the wealth. Wealth is like physical wealth, like money. Also, the availability of the money will be on the grandchild element. The day master controls the money. For men, it means that controls the wife also. Just we know we are on the 2022 now, but we talk about ancient Chinese, how they how they looked at nature and men and women, and they looked at men also controlling, as they control the money, they control the women too. Women are controlled by men. So this is according to different archetypes. I won't argue with that. Okay, this is what it is. If it's right or wrong, I don't know what to tell you about this, okay, but on this little aspect. But again, it's something which is mentioned, but I'm considering it mostly for the money aspect and wealth aspect, okay? About controlling wife or other way, you will decide about your maps that you see. Okay, so this is the wealth energy. The power energy is like the grandparent element, force and influence powered on day master. Okay, husband for women. Okay, the F should be here. So this is the power, and support is the resources, the parent element. It means like the education or support, like mother supports her child. How I get stronger is from my support energies. So again, let's take an example and then we take a break, okay? So again, fire, day master. Every other fire in the map will be parallel. Every earth will be output, will be the availability of work through the earth energy. And if you work, you also have the money, and the money will be connected for the fire. It will be on the metal element. The water element will be power on the fire. Okay, and this will mean status in life or so on. So you work, you get money. After that, you have enough power that influences you. And this gives you more, basically to close the whole cycle, this gives you more energy to support you. Okay, so this is the whole cycle. Now we're going to see different maps when the sizes of each of these elements is not the same. Okay, and therefore we need to consider what is strong and what is weak, or what is weakening, or what is making the day master stronger or weaker. Okay, this is the most important part, that the day master will be strong. And who can make him stronger? Parallel and support. Who will make him weaker? Power, which is influence or control, and output. They will make him weaker. Okay, so these are one of two options. We want to strengthen the day master, or we want to weaken the day master in case he's too strong. Okay, so this is for this part. The basic checklist. Okay, then we have an example, and then we go to, okay, great. Okay, so we're going to take a break a bit after, yeah, I'm in a delay. Okay, so let's take 15 minutes. Okay, it's my bad to be a bit longer. I will take a look on your questions. If you have any other, write them down. I will start the next part with answering questions, and then we will continue on. Okay? Okay, so 15 minutes until 20. Okay, whatever the time is there now. For me, it's 9 p.m., 9:05. So 20 minutes from 15 minutes from now. Okay? Yes, good, good, good.
Recording stopped.